Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. What does sensorality stabilize? So, a lot of derivation today, 2 episodes, very rare. Not super rare, but whenever there's enough to talk about, that is when I make another video. So, just continuing on, looking for the right question to ask to stabilize our definition. Completing is limiting. So we have this variable, sensorality, this concept, censorship. We have linguistical elements such as censorship, sentience, sensation, so on and so forth, and we're trying to show that consistency linguistically. And within that, right, we have things that are set, events definitely happen in the past. We definitely have sections of language that can complete. Such as speciality is special with an ITY. That is directly, literally true. Mitigating is limiting. Limiting is finishing. So overall, just again, trying to develop this natural question. We kind of danced around again, what is density, mass, and volume? So a couple questions. Is mass bright? When you look at things, is this bright? Is volume bright? We can restate the fundamental theorem of emotion. Love is bright. So to the volume question, is volume bright? It's one of these self-contained questions. What is the theme of mathematics? Mathematics is thematics, literally. Right? Volume is voluminosity. That's the full linguistical form. We've derived that several episodes ago. And luminosity is brightness. And so is volume bright? Volume is a truncated form, abridged form of voluminosity, and the base is clearly luminosity. So it's just a self-contained question. Yes, volume is bright because it's just a self-contained, redundant type of question. And so again, volume is this linguistical form that contains the letters of love. And it's literally, again, it's an iteration. And so love is bright, connecting our concept, but to a direct physical process, luminosity. So how does luminosity relate to density? That was kind of the big, density looks like a linguistic form, mass is well defined, and volume is space. We talked about that when I turn up the volume on my phone, I'm increasing the power. Increasing the current, increasing the electrical flow, whatever you want to say. But regardless, all of the logic is self-contained within the letters, trying to get our conceptualizations in the right place, and then the reduction will be trivial. We had this statement, kind of again, what is from rhythm to algorithm? We have this thing, rhythm, and then, how does that play into base, into range? Felt very natural and confident and correct that range to base is derivation. Right? Every time we open up an episode, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. And so now just getting our linguistics in the right chronological order. And so again, derivation, pulling down all of the pieces, integration, putting them all together. And so range to base is derivation from algorithm to rhythm, and linguistically, logically, right? Rhythm, now to our numeric limits within language, right, is 2 syllables. And so algorithm, 4 syllables, right? And there's no even prime numbers. So this numeric even syllability is part of this reduction or part of this completion, right? Speciality is our stabilized definition, but it was like specialty, or like, again, I literally could look up the completion of speciality and I still haven't. It's not that super relevant to this derivation because it is an independent, complete thing, but there's some, again, the numeric limits, which are truly kind of trivial and they just present once you get the concepts in the right way. But rhythm and algorithm are even syllabic word constructions. And so algorithm and rhythm are some sort of base and range. It seems conceptually convincing that rhythm is the base. Linguistically, it certainly is, but just trying to show this completeness. And so, but then saying from base to range is integration. I even have like a little question mark. It's just, again, the chronology aspect is not super convincing, right? Base to range is integration. From rhythm to algorithm is integration. Rhythms is, again, you derive algorithms from rhythm. So it's just like, again, something a little chronology is not super convincing here. But integration is expansion. And the way this presented logically, right, if you're going from something more comprehensive to something less comprehensive, from a range to a base. That's kind of limiting. And then if you're going from a base to a range, you're amplifying, you're intricating, you're integrating, you're expanding, you're growing. So just something about the chronology of that diction is still, What is the relationship of chronology and uniqueness? We'll get to that very directly here shortly. Sensorality is what it is, what it is. And so again, we're at this irreducibility aspect. Had this big turmoil today over, again, resolution versus it is what it is. And just, again, truly the thing that I wanted to articulate was resolution is not it is what it is. Making a clear difference between physics, things that exist, right? It is what it is the complete linguistical representation. It is the structure, right? What is this? It is that. Overwhelmingly apparent in natural use. For our proof, I've just labeled it is what it is as the statement of existence, meaning you can't complete physics. And so to me, a resolution conceptually is a compromise. But just it is what it is just form, it is structure, it is a statement of existence. It does show the connection. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we're going to reduce through that form, but it is not a resolution in the sense of what is resolution physically. That is the things you can see. Those are the pixels on your screen. So I was pretty wordy with that in the previous episodes, but again, I'm showing you the entire process, and it's historically relevant because, like I said, I've already done these steps, and so I don't know if it's like I'm getting stuck. I don't really get, like I said, I don't get stuck, and that's not to say I'm smart. It's just we're trying to find the right question to ask, and if you find out something that's cumbersome, you just kind of you don't have the right intuition. So I really just wanted to say resolution. It is what it is not it's not resolution. It's the form of contraction. It's a statement of existence. Just going to move on. Sensorality resolves tension, such as the crisis in cosmology, the Hubble tension, right? Resolution resolves tension. And so, yeah. So now we're making serious project all the time. I mean, that's why once we get done with this, once we find the right stabilizing syllability for sensorality, this whole proof, this whole structure from rhythm to algorithm is completely reduced. And my life is still over, so that's awesome. But what is a verse to an average? Verge, average. An average is a theme. What is the theme of mathematics? Mathematics is theme. What is theme? Theme is an average. You can't have a theme with just one thing. And so we get I have a numeric one on that. But the theme of mathematics is average. And so we've broken that cycle of, what is the theme of mathematics? Mathematics is theme. Theme is average. Because you can't have an average with anything less than I literally had it written down here. I know I had it. Okay, average requires more than one. Right? You can't have an average with just one thing. Or you can't have a theme with just one data point, with just one existence, right? A motif is recurring theme. Motif, it has to happen more than once to be a theme. So a theme is an average. And so that's like connecting supermath to supermath. Again, the overall labeling, I'm trying not to overdo it. It's just, we're at the point where it's just like every step, everything is just like pretty big. But I put it on the screen in all caps because it was a big realization. Again, because when I'm editing my own videos, like I'm still extracting the logic from my own discussion. Because all of these results are independent of one person. And in the same way, if you have somebody that's insightful about a subject and they talk, you learn stuff. I learn stuff from my own diction. Because like I said, I'm just reading theorems that I just derived like an hour ago or something. And so I have my theorems here, but I'm really just real-time deriving as close as possible. And so I put it on the screen, but right, we're talking about what is volume? What is density? Density is definite, things are definitely somewhere, places. And so a collection of verses is a volume, right? If you have, a series of books, right? Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. A collection of verses is volume. And so it's like, what is average to volume? Right, a theme is an average. right? A series, what is a theme to a series? A theme is a series. Series establish themes. Series produced averages. And so that was a big connection. A collection. A collection of verses is a volume. And so we can state the fundamental theorem of mathematics divided by averages, right? Mass per unit volume, per unit divided by averages. An average is a division, directly, literally. Sensorality averages. And so now here we get our direct physical, or again, a big step linguistically. Sensorality, the spelling with a C. A sensor is an averager. And that is our unique syllability, right? Average is a well-defined word. We have a clear motivation, right? A sensor. Now we have our ER ending. So what could end, right? Does average end in an O or end in an E? Obviously an E. Average. Right? A sensor is an averager. And it is, logically. If you put something on a scale, or if you sort something and you say, hey, I want all quarters, right? It's averaging for quarters. A sensor is an averager. And that's a unique syllability, completely consistent logically. In proper mathematical ontology, sensorality with a C is averagerality. And you might say averagerality isn't a word, but it does produce a new word that's slang, right? A party is a rager. And averagerality, the base is now a rager. Rager, pager. Average requires more than one. Again, it's kind of where that logical derivation stopped. Because again, it probably feels like I'm jumping all over the place, but like I said, derivation and realization happens for me all day, every day. And then so it's like still, it's always in order, but it might seem like something's jumping around to you, but this is as like directly complete as possible. In terms of the process of getting to the final result will speak for itself. Inconsistency produces tension. Inconsistency is discrepancy. Resistance is palpable. Sensorality is palpability. So now again, all of these words that end in ability, you can clearly see it's not like specific enough, right? It's just a general form for function. Sensorability is palpability. So now again, we're just back to the sense. That's a sensorability with an S. Spellings are on your screen. But palpability is viscerality. Viscerality is viscerability. And so some sort of cross multiplication or pairing of this syllability will stabilize, will complete, giving us our definition. Here's a fun one. Sensorality comes first. Sensorality comes full circle. I just come in a circle. What? Somebody said something, I didn't hear anything. But I have that to the LOL to the 69th to the 420th to the 69th to the 420th to the LOL to the 69th power. Can you reverse the universe? No. Reversality is reversibility. And so again, I didn't even point it out, but on my stock terminal, on all those trades and all that trading log we're doing, you can look at the little quick buttons over there on the right side of my screen, and there's a reverse button. It's not an inverse button. And so again, we're just showing this inversion to opposition to maximum to stabilization to reversal against some sort of this chronological process of versing. Universe, reverse, inverse is like the mechanical process of chirality. And so, but that's what stabilizes. We're demonstrating this functionality, this mechanic. So no, you cannot reverse the universe. Sensorality reverses speciality. Your tendency to differentiate, your tendency to not differentiate. Sensorality is irreversibility. Irreversibility is the inability to reverse. All motion is forward. Chronology is irreversible. So that was getting to what is the relationship of chronology and uniqueness. Chronology produces uniqueness. It is irreversible. Whatever happens could never happen again uniquely. It's not possible. And so everything is infinitely unique. Again, back to the proto-definition, or the axiomatic definition of the speciality. But remember, emotion is the range, motion is the range, or the base. Clearly, just progressing our logic, again, tried to provide, again, I wouldn't call like a big hiccup, but just, or not even like a hiccup, but just the way I had presented, it is what it is. And I said, you know, first of all, the resolution reduces, which isn't true physically. That was the straight up wrong part. And I had just presented something like saying, it is what it is. You know, what is it? And again, it's that I have said throughout these videos, it's the form of all resolutions. Which, again, the logical presentation, again, it's like saying you live in 3 dimensions. You start out saying that to get people in the right mindset, but it's this irreducible form that you can show consistency with. But linguistics, it is physical, right? It comes from physics, but it's not, the logical representations is not the existent things, right? Numbers don't exist, words don't exist. And so it's just the emergent structure. It's the statement of existence. Resolution is compromise. Resolution is perceivable. Just making a difference between physics and linguistics, even though, again, this thing over here is physical. Linguistics represents these things. These things don't complete. And so linguistics is bounded, right? That's what we're demonstrating. And so that is what I have for you today. My rights continue to be violated. It is completely illegal. It has destroyed my life, my health. I say it in every video because it is true. I have no expectation to ever live to see this world change. I continue to beg for a little bit of money. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.